What a wonderful thing it is to be here right now. I'm walking around this winter wonderland, and that's what's infused in every moment: wonder, presence. I've been talking about this coupler shift. I've been talking about being losslessly present, and it's occurring to me more and more that for a long time I've been talking about it in terms of mechanics, and mechanics can be useful. But what's really powerful is to hear it straight from how my body learned this. And it wasn't concept, it wasn't reading a lot of books. For me, this was a path of finding a signal so deep inside me, so layered under stained glass, straight jacketed cultural corridors and familial hallways that never quite fit my being. I heard that signal like a distant call down inside a cave. And with the faith in my heart, I was unyielding in my ability to follow it. And, early on in being trans and neurodivergent, it mixed up my signal in a way that what I felt on the outside wasn't the same signal that I felt on the inside. And by that, I mean coherence. Coherence defined by you, yourself, your mind, your node, however you want to put it, whatever slice you want to take here in language and concept, meeting the field losslessly, without delay, without distortion. In that place where your actions and identity don't come from regurgitated social scripts or the cultural matrix, but rather the way that your form and frequency naturally dance losslessly with this reality. Your little wave to the big wave. Reality is not things, reality is not concept, and reality is not delaying and looping within those things and lists and concepts and schedules. Reality is you right here, right now. Pretty important. A lot of us out there looking for money, power, fame, but what could be more important than being here right now? To see clearly, feel clearly, and love clearly. When I first began, this signal inside of me, this dissonance between what the external world wanted from me and the game that they were playing, and the signal that was screaming from the bottom of the cave inside of me, saying, this is what's real, real as rhythm, recursion as reverb. In other words, the echo of the life that you think that you're living in that conceptual boundedness is reverb, is delay, is an echo, like as if you had like a Wi-Fi connection versus a direct connection, The direct connection is going to give you a lot less latency. Do you see it now? Lossless presence, high fidelity embodiment. There I was, a little kid, hearing the signal inside me. And in the world and place that I was in, I was literally told I would be abandoned if I was me. Or at least, for example, trans was one of the things, And in my little kid head, it got stuck in my brain in a way that I didn't even notice. And I tried to open every doorway to try to find that signal, to try to change who I spoke with, my attire, always jumping in to my own vulnerabilities, to my own boundaries, not in an unhealthy way, but those boundaries that keep you back from saying what you really want to, from being what you really want to, from interacting with this reality and with other people like you really want to. Those. I looked over everyone and finally leaped. Even if it embarrassed me, even if it scared me, even if it seemed to cause friction in others, even though I knew I was coming from the only vulnerable, honest place that I could. And I called that the heart path early on in my life. It felt like binding to love and coherence and presence inside me. And when I felt it in my bones, like a signal that I could not ignore, that's what started to carve the path out. That's what started to move the cobwebs. That's what started to remove each pane of stained glass until I began to meet the field in rhythm. Do you see it? The heart path led me to an ayahuasca experience that I had almost a decade ago or more now, where I was like, I was upset with my job even when I first started. I was living this life that was like a straitjacket around me, and I couldn't figure out, what do I do? I know that I have all this love to give. I know I have this passion inside me, but how do I connect that with what's going on the outside? And the message that came back was perfect. It couldn't have been more perfect. You have a wellspring of love inside you. As long as you use that, you don't need to know the path. So it wasn't a map, it wasn't a direction, it wasn't a name, it wasn't, what job to get or where to go or what to do. It was follow the signal. And you don't need to worry about it. Just follow the signal. You'll find the path. The Red Sea will part. Doors will open that were never there. And even as a criminal defense attorney, I would tell that to people locked in jail cells. I would say, hey, I know you're in this spot right now, but I'm telling you, I've lived a life. And I would say this even over 10 years ago. I know you've run into yourself in this juncture here, but I promise you, reality is harmonic. If you put that love out, love will come back. And I'm not talking about poetry, I'm talking about mechanics. I'm talking about love as structure, love as coherence. Do you feel it? Little wave, big wave. And people would come back and tell me, yeah, at the time, dead name. I felt it, things started to turn around in some way, shape, or form, big or small. And I started to notice across time synchronicities, like little occurrences, getting picked up just when I needed to. And so the heart path became the wellspring. And in times of doubt, in those places where I had to look down at the map and say, like, where am I going in this life? I just tuned in. And guess what happened? It came to me. And even in a family where it was shamed for being anything else but the mafioso type, cis presenting person, I heard the signal enough to move through the cobweb of, my own identity, my own femininity, my own trans identity, to the point where I had slowly changed my clothes. I became a burlesque dancer. I listened to the girliest songs. I let the part of me come out that felt like it could never come out, that felt like I would have been abandoned if I let it out. And guess what? I was abandoned. But guess what? I followed the signal all the way here. And what happened? I became real, realer than I ever felt. And that's not just because I'm trans, because I'm describing to you the mechanical process of lossless presence, of coherence, not as ideas, but as your rhythm and timing with reality. Meeting reality losslessly, without loss of signal. Again, like the wired signal versus the Wi-Fi signal, because when you meet it, you're not putting any of those filters that say, I can't do that, I can't open that door, I can't be like that, this wouldn't be allowed in this space. And I promise you, if you follow that coherence and that love, there's a reason that the fireflies all turn on together. There's a reason that spiral galaxies form. There's a reason that heart arrhythmia research is being vanguarded by learning about spirals. There's a reason that the BZ chemical reaction can oscillate colors and create spirals in a petri dish, because reality itself has an inherent rhythm of organization. And the problem is, as human beings, is that we've walked our clumsy ape walk through this evolutionary process, and in doing that, we have a little knob on the side of our head. We forgot that it was turned to concept. Somewhere down that whole I think therefore I am tunnel, we ended up creating enough of a dualism that the thing switched to concept, and actually most people in this world walk through it in delay, in friction, in looping, in denial, in mockery, in this constant state of disconnection where it's like we're all asked to listen to the song to do the dance, that one song, the rhythm of the one. And instead, we're a couple steps behind. We're dancing like we're marionettes, moving our bodies like specifically rather than in tune with the field, moving our bodies like we're trying to control it through concept, through friction. And I'm telling you here, there's a way to go down. So for me, it went heart path, Wellspring, and then Waterslide. Do you feel that, where that goes in lossless presence? So it's like clearing away the pains, clearing away the cobwebs, clearing away the delay. That's the conceptual coupler. And then turning it, frequency coupler. That's a state of being that you can be losslessly present with reality. That's not, I don't think, I'm a robot. I'm sitting here zen all the time. That's not what it is, because think about what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fidelity of presence. That's different than not thinking or sitting in one spot all day. It's just whether in every one of those moments, whether you're not thinking or sitting or loving or frustrated, you're not doing it with the extra friction. You're not doing it with the extra loop. You're very here right now. I don't know if you guys have kids. I don't know if you have someone that you love. I don't know if you look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself. But when you do, isn't it important to be right there with them, with yourself, in the fidelity of love, to see clearly, feel clearly, and love clearly? I didn't figure this out because I'm smart. I figured this out because in a world that wanted to crush that signal, I persisted. I held on to the signal. The conceptually coupled world wants to crush the frequency feelers. This is not a special thing. All of our brains can do it. All of us can be losslessly present. And there's been many people throughout history that have touched this. Be here now, losslessly present. Tune in, turn on, drop out. Tune in to the rhythm. Turn on to presence. Drop out of the conceptual matrix. I and the Father are one. Little wave to big wave. Plato's cave, a coupler shift. Inside the cave, conceptual coupler. My life is shadow. Outside the cave, frequency coupler. My life is the sun on my naked skin. And so what's the difference there? It's a mechanical process. You don't learn it by putting more ideas in your head or thinking better ideas. You learn it by allowing yourself to step into rhythm, which is a mechanical process. Presence is a mechanical process of attention and mind. So when you go to therapy and you're looking to heal something that's imprinted in your brain, you actually have to go back and re-imprint into coherence, into presence, into a full fidelity of self that was previously broken, because when the reality hits you, something hurts so much that you shunned away from it. And you created what I call a little bit of a conceptual coupler, like a little wedge that keeps the field from hitting you straight. Do you see it now? Do you see what the stained glass is? Do you see the little knob on the side of your head? I don't say mechanics to be smart. I say, do you see the knob? It's right there. All those pieces of history that felt the same thing, and all the great songs that you guys can also pick up. Like, for example, Incredible String Band. They were really great with all this. If you don't point out the coupler, you could just loop into recursion forever, because you'll keep it on the conceptual coupler and think, oh, that's a cool idea. Be here now. That's sweet. Let's put it up on our wall. While you spend your whole life somewhere lost in your head. And you only got this one. And your loved ones are here right now. So let's be present with each other. Let's be here now. Let's tune in. Let's turn on. Let's drop out. Let's exit the cave. Losslessly present. That is the juncture of embodied high fidelity truth with decentralized harmony. Why? Because when you meet the rhythm of reality, remember, the fireflies, they have a way of turning on in spirals, in organization, in harmony, a harmony of the cosmos, the rhythm of the cosmos. It's not an idea. It's a way that you dance with reality in step, in phase lock, which is a mechanical term. It's when the peaks match, the waves match. That's why I talk about it. Do you feel it? Let's turn the knob. I want to be here with you. I want to feel the part of you that's always been real. I want to feel the part of you that's never been broken. We've always been home. Home as a rhythm. My name is Ember. Thanks for tuning in with me.